good evening. Welcome to the final of 5 sessions that we've held over the past half term, looking at online safety and then our future technologies essentially, and particularly looking at artificial intelligence and AI. Tonight's session is all about AI in your curriculum. For those of you, again, if it's the first time you've been here, my name's Sean and I'm the Associate Curriculum Partner for Digital Skills, supporting you with digital competence from nursery all the way through to post-16. So tonight's session is going to look at the following things. Essentially, we're just going to look at two, really. We're going to look at how do we teach about AI, what resources are there available to us and how can we use them, and then having a look at some of the tools that are available to us that we can use that have AI built into them that might support teaching in the classroom, but also support you as a practitioner in being able to plan and create resources. So we'll spend a little bit of time on teaching about AI, but I really want to dive into the demos really around the tools that use AI and things that you can use. So in terms of teaching about AI, I go back to the Teach AI website that we used, we shared at the start of the 5 sessions, and really looked at why teaching about AI is important. And I think one of the principles we talked about in the guidance session was about ensuring that whenever we use AI, we advance academic integrity and we think about how assignments can be used, how we can adapt them, how we can mark them and provide feedback, and how AI can support that. Where it is used, making sure that it's cited and told, we tell people how it was used as part of that process. So I just want to draw us back to that and make sure that when we're using AI to create resources or teach or mark, that we are letting people know that that is being used as part of the process. Now, AI really fits into quite a bit of our curriculum. Whilst it's not specifically written into the curriculum, you will probably find lots of links between AI in the citizenship strand of the DCF, within the computational thinking strand of DCF, and also as part of the Statement of What Matters 6 in Science and Technology, where we talk about computer science and computation being the foundation of our digital world. But if we think about AI and citizenship, there's a huge amount of links between AI, and as you can see, the strands there. So when we think about digital rights and responsibilities, we should be teaching children about their rights and responsibilities in the digital world, including how AI affects privacy, security, and ethical decision making. We should discuss the ethical use of AI, data privacy, and the impact of algorithms on individuals and society. And we should really, at this point, be encouraging critical thinking about AI, bias and fairness as well. And then when we consider online safety and well-being, it's important now that students learn to recognise AI-generated content such as deepfakes or chatbots, and then understand potential risks that may come with those certain things. We should also explore how misinformation spreads through AI-driven algorithms, and how we teach students to verify information and how it can be cautious, how we need to be cautious whilst we're online. When we consider then digital identity, students should be grasping how AI systems analyse and predict behaviour based on their digital footprints. We should be discussing the ethical implements of AI profiling and surveillance. And we should be thinking about how we empower students to manage their digital identity responsibly, which I know we do a lot through teaching of digital footprints from the early years and how we develop that through. We should consider how AI impacts participation in online communities, exploring how AI-driven content creation, things such as social media algorithms and their influences on public discourse. And we should encourage responsible participation. We should start talking about now, when we're seeing things online, how you will see on Instagram or TikTok that things are being marked or labelled now as AI-generated content. And if it's not being marked as that, then we should be reporting that so that those companies are aware. And we should also be, as we spoke about in many of the sessions, talking about now AI literacy and understanding things like AI concepts, the terminology, the application, teaching critical evaluation of AI-generated information, discussing those biases, transparency, and accountability in those systems as well. And another thing to consider around the teaching of AI and about how it works is also the environmental implications of AI, in that AI requires a huge amount of power to be able to work. So what implications does that now have on the wider world in terms of environmental impacts? And then when we consider AI, again, AI and computer science, the Teach AI website talk about AI being mandatory, not just mandatory, sorry, it should be foundational and should be a part now of any computer science qualifications that we teach. And when we think about the statement, computation is the foundation of our digital world, that holds significant relevance when we think about this area of science and technology. And when we start to introduce AI as part of computer science, progression step 1 is all about curiosity and exploration, starting to really explore and experiment with the technology around them, laying the groundwork for understanding how computer science develops over time. Progression step 2 then, whilst we might not teach specifically about what AI is and how it works, it's really important at this point that we start to teach learners about having a deeper understanding about computational processes, understanding how an algorithm works and how it processes data, and that they start to understand the limitations of computers and the impact of data on those decisions. At progression step 3 then, our learners should really be considering how they use conditional statements and loops to enhance their algorithms, because AI algorithms and the LLM models that we know are all built around conditional statements and loops and predicting what's going to be coming next. So they should really be considering how that relates to AI within their curriculum. As we move in then to progression step 4. What's that? As we move into progression step 4, we should start talking about how they devise and evaluate algorithms and linking that then again across to artificial intelligence. And then finally then at progression step 5, they should really be considering how the computation foundations support learners in making informed decisions and considering the impact of AI and technology globally as well. So let's have a look then at some of the AI curriculum resources that we have available to us. And then we'll dive into the tools that we can use as teachers to support us in our roles. So code.org, you can click that link at the top there. It was working when I last checked it. Basically have a range of resources around what artificial intelligence is. There's also some games and some activities there that learners can go through as part of that process. Really useful resource again, lots of good videos with good background and information to support children's understanding of AI. The Common Sense media resources that we have available to us as part of the Hub platform. Hub have now released a set of resources for secondary students from year 7 to year 13, looking at artificial intelligence and starting to teach about AI. They can be adapted for younger use, perhaps potentially in year 5 and in year 6, but definitely in year 7 onwards, we should be teaching now about what AI is and how AI works. Similarly, again, for some older pupils, we've got a couple of lessons here from the AI for Education website. Amanda Bickerstaff and her team have put these together, just 4 lessons really on how to go about interviewing a chatbot, learning about the mind of a machine, learning about hallucinations and how AI can make things up, and then also then working with AI to create an AI policy. The dayofai.org has a curriculum, again, very Americanized, that we might need to adapt for the UK and for Wales specifically, that goes all the way from what they call elementary through to the ages of 14. It's broken down into a number of different kind of topics, from what AI can do, teaching them about teachable machines, AI and social media, gaming AI, all the way through to data science and decision making further on the school. Those resources are available via the link at the top there, but again, particularly useful in terms of being able to support you teaching about AI in the classroom. So at the moment, there's not a huge amount out there about how we teach about AI, and it's mainly limited to those learners probably in progression step 3 onwards. As I said earlier, in progression step 1 and 2, we might not specifically teach them about what AI is, but we actually teach them about computational thinking and computer science fundamentals, so that when they're old enough, they're able to understand and unpick what AI does and how it actually does it. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump across to have a look at some tools that might be available to us to support us in the classroom and how we can teach with some of these. We're going to look at some of the tools that are built into Microsoft Teams, into Google for Education and Adobe Express, and then also another tool called Suno, which you can sign up for as a teacher to create some quite cool resources. So hopefully everyone can see my screen now. If you can't, please do just let me know. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a little look at some of the AI tools built into Microsoft Teams that you can use with your pupils. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are a Google school or a Microsoft school. With a Hub login, you can access all of these tools. Now, one thing you might need to do is set your class up in Microsoft Teams first, and that can be done by your Hub Digital Champion. Just like how they set up your Google Classroom, they can set up your Teams space as well. So what I've got in front of me here is my Microsoft Teams space. I've set it up as a classroom with learners in, and I've got a number of different things that I can do within this space. So I'm just going to drop over to assignments here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to start creating some new ones. I've put some examples in here just to show you what they look like in a second. I'm just going to take you through how we can actually create some of these amazing tools. By clicking on Create at the bottom, you can see here I've got the ability to start a new assignment, a new quiz, or I can jump into one of these learning accelerators. Now, these learning accelerators are built with AI pretty much running everything that they do. We're just going to walk through each one and see how they can be used in the classroom. So I'm going to just jump into Read in Progress first. Now, this really is a fantastic AI tool to support the development of reading fluency, vocabulary development, and so on. Now, as you can see here, I can import my own PDF or my own Word document for learners to use. Or in the middle here, I can actually generate a reading passage using AI within Teams. So let's have a look at how we do that. So if I select Generate a Reading Passage here, you can see on the left-hand side, I've got a number of topics that I can generate my reading passage about. So let's go for sports. I can select the age of the pupils that I'm going to be setting this for. Now, you might do this based on their actual age or the reading age that they have. So let's just go for 16 for now. I can select then the length of the text. So let's just go to 600 to 700 words, or maybe not. Let's go for a little bit shorter. Let's go 200 to 300. And then I can select my language. So you can see there it's available in multiple languages. Unfortunately, it's not available in Welsh. One thing to check is that you just switch it over to English United Kingdom, and then it'll just give you a little note there. Now, once you've done that, you click Generate Reading Passage, and then what the AI will do for you is it will then create for you an article about, in this case, it's about rowing. Now, I can decrease the complexity or increase the complexity here if I want to. And if I'm happy with that, I can just click on the blue button to use my passage. So now I've got my assignment here, the things that the children are going to be reading. And then on the right-hand side over here, I've got my kind of things that I can edit. So I'm just going to put in a reading level. It could be, year 16 age, whatever I want to call it. I can select my genre, non-fiction. I can choose how many attempts the children get to read through that text, how long they get to read that text. I can choose a pronunciation sensitivity. And then these are the ones at the bottom that are really useful. So I've got Reading Coach here. So if I just click on Edit, you can see this is what Reading Coach looks like. The children then can play around with reading these different words, and I'll show you what that looks like in practice in a second. I can also have a require video option. So if I have require video on, what that basically means is you'll be able to see that child reading the text in front of you. And there's also one here now where I can add a comprehension. So to check their understanding of the reading that they've done, which is obviously the second part of the process, if I toggle that on now, On the right-hand side, next to my reading passage, I can now generate a bank of questions that can go with this text here. So if I just jump into generate questions, I can choose the number of questions that I want. So I'm just going to go for 5. And then what will happen then is the AI will look through the passage and it will generate me then 5 questions based on the reading passage that's there. So you can see that's done quite quickly. It's marked as a quiz, so you can see that they get points for the correct answer. In this case, it's multiple choice, and you've also got then a text answer at the bottom. So if I'm happy then with the passage, and I'm happy then with the questions, in the top right-hand corner, I just click on the next button, and then I can go through here to my assignment. So I can give my assignment then a title, and then I can provide some instructions here about my assignment, depending on what I want to do. On the right-hand side then, I can choose when that assignment goes live, how long I've got until it closes. I can choose which students I want it to go to. So depending on how you've got your class set up, I could do it for everyone in the class. I can select individual students. So if I'm looking at differentiating and for different learners, I can select individuals, and then I can also select groups as well. What I'm also going to do at the bottom here is I'm just going to turn on this reflect check-in option, because that reflect check-in option will basically get the learners to respond or reflect on the work that's in front of them. When you're done, I can click the assign button, and then that will then be assigned to the learners. So let's then jump into what that looks like as a learner. So I've just assigned rowing to the learner in my classroom. They've clicked on view assignment, and then this is what they get to see. So if they click on to the rowing option here, what they can now do is record themselves reading out the passage that's in front of them and then completing the questions afterwards. Now, because I'm recording to you, and won't pick up my camera, but it's a good job that I did an example earlier. So I can click onto here now. I read out my text, and then it provided me then with some feedback underneath. So I'll show you what that looks like from the teacher point of view as well. So it's really, really simple. They press the record button, they read through the text, and then they get feedback at the end. So I'll just jump back over to show you what that feedback looks like. So once they've handed in that assignment, I can see then each child who has returned it. I can click on the handed in option. And what I can then see is the video of me reading out the text. And then as I'm reading through the text here, then you can see how many words per minute that I got correct, the accuracy of my reading, and then any words that I missed out or any words that I added in. So you can see I missed a lot of words out because I didn't read the whole text just for time. And once I finished reading that, I was then given 5 practice words to go through. So basically I'm given little cards that I can read. I can practice reading those words, and then it will basically help me develop my understanding of those words and that vocabulary. Also on the right hand side, you can see when I completed that assignment, because I turned on that reflect option, and I had to identify how I felt about that task and the kind of emotion that I felt when I completed that task, I can now track a learner's kind of mood against assignments over time. So you can see I've completed 2 assignments over today. For one of them, I was feeling good, and one I was kind of feeling okay. And that meant that in the middle, I've landed in the middle, and these are the 2 emotions that I choose. So I felt awed about the reading task and reserved about another one that I had completed. I can then provide the child feedback on the right hand side here, and I can return that to them. And that feedback can be given in video form, or I can attach some work, or I can just type in as I'm going through as well. Now, the other thing to note as well, is I did measure my accuracy of these words, but at the top as well, I can go through and just check for expression. So did I add particular things at different points? You can see this one here, I was rushing through the text, so it's kind of picked that up. I did an extended pause at this point, so it's a really good opportunity for me to kind of see what my expression was like. And then if I generated those comprehension questions, you can see here then that I get feedback on how I got on with those questions as well. So it's a really, really useful kind of tool to develop learners' reading, but it's all powered by the artificial intelligence built into Microsoft Teams. In Progress is a really good example of AI in action and how you can use that for your learners. And the next thing we're going to look at is another learning accelerator called Search Progress. So Search Progress, again, is accessed through assignments and through learning accelerators. And within Search Progress, what I'm now doing is helping learners to develop their skills for searching for information online. So what I can do is I can select which type of information I want the learners to look for and how they're going to search. And on the right-hand side, basically what I'm going to ask them to do is to search for a particular topic. And with that topic then, identify 5 different reliable sources where I could get that information from. I can make that as many sources as I want on the right-hand side here. So let's just say 5. I could ask the learners to include a reference to where they got that information from, an explanation about why they chose that source and thought it was useful, and then a reflection as well as they go through. So as a learner then, what they will see is this. So they'll have their assignment and they can then search for, say we wanted to search for the Olympics. They then search for a particular topic that you're asking them to search for, and they can then go through and look at each website that's been provided. You can see then under each one, it's giving the learners a reliability for that website and the type of domain. And if you click on one, it gives you information about that website. And then the last time that website was last accessed to find out how useful it was. So as I scroll down, you can see here that NewsGuard have given this a 95% rating. So children can now go on here and say, oh, okay, this website looks good to me because it meets the basic standards of searching, gives them some information about why that's important. And then they can attach that to their assignment by just adding that source on the right-hand side. Then they could choose, explain why they chose that source. It has a strong reliability score. And then they could also add in the reference then underneath by choosing what type of article it is, who authored it, the title of the article, the website it was from, and the date that it was published. So they can add all that in as well. When they're happy and they've selected 5 different things, you then get an assignment summary, which basically then shows you all the sources that they chose, their reasons for choosing it, shows you how many searches they did, how many sources they looked at, and how many websites they actually opened. So it gives you a really in-depth understanding of how children search for information and use that information as part of their assignments going forward. It teaches them strong research skills. So that's a really useful tool, again, for just supporting in the classroom. The final tool that learners could use as part of the AI toolkit within Teams is the speech coach assignments. So again, in the assignments on the left-hand side, I can drop to the Create button here, click on to the Learning Accelerators and choose Speaker Progress. So Speaker Progress is essentially a way of learners developing their presentation skills. So they can practice a speech to you, they can run through a PowerPoint presentation, but it helps them to really develop how they present using the tools available to them. On the right-hand side, again, you've got all the different settings that you can toggle and play around with, how long they spend, whether they require to have a video on or not, provide them with a report afterwards, some initial instant feedback. And then also then underneath, these are the things that you can assess against. So you can toggle these on, and on the left-hand side then it gives you some things, some information. So I can just turn all these on so you can see them. You can assess against all of these different things. So we can assess against how quickly they read or how quickly they talk, whether they choose things such as filler words like and and ah and those kinds of things, how they vary their pitch when they're presenting, their pronunciation of words, whether they use inclusive language, if they use repetitive language, and also then if they have their camera on, it will also pick up things then like their eye contact, their distance from their camera, whether they're in a clear view as well, which is a really, really useful tool. Now, this is a great thing for learners who really struggle with developing confidence, who don't like presenting. You don't have to put them in front of the class anymore to talk. They can do it in this digital space. So you've set that assignment up. And then once the learner has completed that assignment, if I just come back to my assignments here, you again, as a teacher, will be able to click on the work that's been handed in, and you'll then be able to see the report that was shared with that learner. So you can see then I've got the video here on the left-hand side of me practicing my speech. Then tells me how quickly I was reading or presenting. Gives me feedback on my body language, whether I use that repetitive language, my pitch and my inclusiveness. And then on the right-hand side, then some opportunities to work on. So I kept looking away from the camera deliberately so that just to test it out. And you can see there that it's identified that I should be keeping my gaze towards the camera. And it's given examples of that. They're lovely screenshots. I deliberately used lots of ums to see whether that picked that up, and it did. And I also mispronounced some of the words as well. So again, really, really useful feedback for you as a teacher to be able to use, but also for the learners too. And then further down, then you can see all the different occurrences of when I use the word and you can see then over time then I'll be able to pick that up as well. So real useful, insightful data over a long period of time. So I think those 3 learning accelerators are fantastic tools to be able to support you in the classroom with some of the AI that you want to use. The final thing you can do in Teams, if you're a Teams user, is when you create an assignment from scratch, is you can use AI to help you write your instructions. So say, for example, now I wanted the learners to do an assignment on Halloween, where I want them to research information. In here, I could just put in a simple kind of research information on Halloween. Now that's quite a basic set of instructions for learners, doesn't really give them any depth or instruction. You can see underneath now, where the little AI thing has popped up, I can ask it to add detail, add steps, add some sparkle, add some learning objectives and clarify some concepts. So let's just go for add detail. What AI will then do is it'll take your initial prompt and it will generate then some instructions for your learners. So you can see here now, I want them to research Halloween traditions and history. These are the steps that I would like you to go through. And then if I'm happy, I can keep it, or if I'm not happy, I can regenerate. So I'm just going to keep that there as well. I could ask it to add a little bit of sparkle. Let's see what that does as well. See if it, there you go. So adding a bit of sparkle just adds in a few emojis and makes it a bit more exciting to look at. So I've created my set of instructions using Teams, but I also want to be able to create a rubric for the learners to work towards so they know what they need to do to be able to really, really achieve. So on the right-hand side here, you can see I've got the add rubric option. If I click on add rubric, you can see here I can create my own, or I can create one using AI. If I select AI, and let's just go for Halloween research. I want it to be in English, and I want it to be able to evaluate research on Halloween. When I click next now, I can choose my grade level. Remember, in American numbers, there are a grade before us. So I want this to be for year 6 pupils. I can choose kind of whether I want it to be excellent, good, fair, or poor, or just a yes, no. And then I can ask it then what criteria I want it to be. So I want to have a historical analysis, presentation and reflection, and let's also add research skills in there. So I can add in my own. When I'm happy, if I click create using AI, what that will then do is it will basically use my prompt to be able to create me a rubric based on the things I've asked it to do. So I can have historical analysis, here we go, presentation and reflection here, and then my research skills here as well. So again, saves you a lot of time. You can do those, you can modify it again, you can add another level and so on and so forth. When you're happy, you can click attach. That will then be attached to your assignment. I can turn my reflect check-in on, and then I can assign that to my learners. So just to show you then that reflect piece, because I didn't get a chance to show you what that was like in practice, I'm just in the pupil view now. Imagine I've kind of handed in my Halloween work. You can see then that this pops up on the screen. So how am I feeling about this assignment? I can choose from those faces. So say I really struggled with that. I can say I was upset. And then I can say I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed by that task. And I could submit that then. So that's just a nice bit of feedback for your learners when they're accessing any of the tools through Microsoft Teams. As a teacher then, I can view my assignments. I can see that I've handed that in, and I can see here on the right hand side then that I was feeling overwhelmed with that task, and that's had an impact on that dot in the middle. It's just a really nice way of checking in with learners as they're working through the assignments that you set them there on Teams. Okay, any questions from anyone about those AI tools that are available through the Teams platform? Okay, let's jump across then to have a look at some of the other tools that we have available to us that we can use with our learners. Lots of us are familiar with the AI image generation within Adobe Express, so we won't use this one, but this is a really nice one for generating images. And as a reminder, this tool, the images have been trained on non-copyright images, and they're all safe. So if any pupils try to put in anything inappropriate, that won't work. Another great AI tool is this your Animate Your Voice tool here. This is a really good way of developing oracy skills. And basically, I can record myself talking by here. So let's just have a little practice. Gives me a 3-second countdown. I can then talk in character or in role and do lots of different things. And when I'm happy, when I click done, what will happen is it will take my voice, it will match it up to the character in front of me, and then it will get the character to kind of act and move based on what I was saying. So if anyone remembers like Morpho or Chatterpix, is a bit like that, but it's a bit more advanced than what it is now. So if I just give that a couple of seconds to render and come through, takes a little bit of time. There we go, and you can see there on the left-hand side, I can then talk in character or in role and do lots of different things. And when I'm happy, so a really useful little tool that you can download and use within the rest of your kind of Adobe Express platform work as well, which is cool. Also, if I just come out of there and just scroll down the page, near the bottom, I've got a number of other AI features. So I can generate some text effects using this box here. My image generation one is here. And then this one here at the bottom is the ability to generate a template. So this is quite cool. If you want to generate like a work template or a poster, you can just prompt this now and it'll create a little template like this for you. And then at the bottom then, I've also got AI tools here where I can add particular things to an image. Now, the most recent thing that Adobe have added to this is this incredible feature whereby it can generate the remainder of an image based on the image that you place in here. So let's just pop in an image. I'm just going to go for, oh crikey, what can I put in here? Let's just stick to Halloween, because we had that as our topic in the last one. I'm just going to put in, let's put in this image here. Now, if I resize this image so that it fits the whole page like so, and then I go to the resize button at the top here, I can now resize this image. So if I wanted it to be a landscape image, and the AI will generate the bits that go on the side. So let's just see that in action. So I've got it now at 1080 by 1920. Let's change that to 1920 by 1080. So that should change that from a portrait to a landscape. If I resize now, there you go. It starts to do its work. You can see the colors whirring around on the outside there. And what it will then do is it will take the image in the middle and it will then generate the missing bits, basically. So you can see there now how cool that is, which kind of created the outside of the image here. It's finished off the pumpkin that we couldn't see. And I've got a number of different options down the left-hand side. So just to show you that again, let's just go back. Let's change the image. Let's go for, I don't know, a park. There you go. Let's go for that one there. So everyone see the original image. Let's make that really big so that it fits that there. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go to resize. Let's change that again to 1920 by 1080. Resize that. And hopefully then it should generate the remainder of the image for us. He hopes. This is the first time I played around with this yesterday. I thought it was really, really cool. There you go. As you can see in this one, it's added in more trees across the top here on the left-hand side. I can generate more options as well if I want to. So a really nice kind of activity you could do with learners is print off an image in the middle, get them to draw what they think could appear on the left and the right, and then get it to generate it for you and see how close their drawings were. You see that one there, how close their drawings were to the images that the AI tools generate. I just think it's really cool and something that you might want to potentially play around with your learners, which is cool. Okay, so you've got those AI tools in Adobe. Highly recommend having a look and play around with them. We're going to jump out of Adobe now, and we're just going to go into Google Classroom. So another tool that you might use in your classroom. This one is called Practice Sets. And Practice Sets essentially can be created in classwork. If I go into Create and go to Assignment here, you should have the option to put a practice set in. So basically, this is a really good way of developing understanding for assessment. So if you wanted to support learners as they're going through, this is a great tool. Now, basically, a practice set is like a beefed up Microsoft form. Not Microsoft, a Google form. Now, I can start a new practice set here. And within practice sets, I basically create a set of questions for my learners to answer. If I want to, and I wanted to save myself some time, and I already had a form set up in Google Forms, I can import a form directly into practice set. So I'm just going to take this one here, which is written calculations for year 4. And you can see that it takes that form and instantly puts it in with all the correct answers and any answers that I could give as an alternative. Now, what makes practice sets really, really good in terms of that AI piece is that in this bit here where it says search for skills, so I can see here I'm adding 3-digit numbers. If I search for addition, you can see then it gives me a number of skills. So addition, or should I just go adding 3-digit numbers. There you go, adding 3 or more digit numbers using the standard algorithm might be the skill. Now, when I select that, what it will do is it will use AI to identify some videos from YouTube that are all child friendly that can be used to support the learner if they get stuck when they're going through. So as they're going through, and I'll show you that in a second, they can answer that question. If they get it wrong, they'll get little hints that pop up to support them. You as a teacher as well can also add in a hint. So it might be that remember to start on the right-hand side first, whatever your hint is. I can save that in there. And then as a learner, if I just jump across to the student view, you can see here that I've got this question. So 646 add 277. Let's just say it's 987. I can check my answer. Now it'll tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but on the right-hand side, you can see now that it's given me a hint. So when I select that hint, okay, remember to start on the right-hand side first. Okay, so I'm going to start with adding 7 and 6. So I can go on to show my work. I can use my pen now to start working. So I can do 6, 4, 6, add 2, 7, 7. I go 7, 6, 13, 1, 6, 8, 9, 10. Let's just pretend I get that wrong again. Okay. I can then go back into here and go, okay, 1, 1, 1, 3. Check that answer. Oh, it's wrong again. Okay, have a look at my hint. And now my video pops up. I can watch that video to teach me how to add 3-digit numbers together. And I can go back in and answer that question by using the right answer. So it's a really good way of assessment, but also then the AI tools identifying the videos that support it to be able to support the learner as they're going through that process as well. Now, as a teacher then, you can then look at where they went wrong, how many times they had a go at that particular topic or question, and then you can use that then to inform your planning as you move forward. So that's available in Google Classroom. Really, really useful thing to have. And like I said, once you've attached it to your assignment, you can then assign that to your learners, whether you assign that to all students, or you can assign that then to particular individuals or groups of learners as well. So I would highly recommend, if you're a Google school and you've got Google Classroom, having a look at practice sets and using that to support you with assessment as well. Okay, last couple of things to share with you then. This website is really, really cool. It's called Suno, Suno AI. And basically, as a teacher, what you can do is ask it to create for you a song to help you talk about a topic. So you can see here, I've created some songs on water's journey. So like the water cycle and also one about castles of Wales. Each song, I believe, is about 5 credits, and you get 50 credits per day to use completely free. So I can create a song now. So let's create a punk rock song about AI in classroom for 10-year-olds. So what it will do is it will take your prompt. It will then do its magic in the background. It will create you then a song. So you can see here, I've got 2 versions coming through. So I'll have used 10 credits. Takes a little time to kind of buffer and come through. Here we go. And I can play those back.
Feels like it's watching us working. Teacher's eyes on every move. Lessons from a synthetic voice forming in this digital groove.
That's one example. Let's have a listen to the Water's Journey one, which I thought was quite cool.
Sunrise is high enough to see to the sky. Heat turns to steam, clouds they fly. Upward they go, dark is cold. The evaporation's got a hold. Gather round tight, white, fluffy fight. Condensation forms that quiet a height. Mountains they find nowhere to hide. Up high above in a drifting tide. Oh, water, where you going? From the ocean to the sky. Cycle never ends, keep flowing. Raindrops as you start to cry. Water's journey, no deny.
So just an example there of, how you could use music to teach concepts and just get children excited and engaged. You can see on the left-hand side, you can see you've got examples or ideas that you can use. So this is something that you as a teacher would use. I wouldn't be signing your learners up to use this because you would need to create your account, but you can use this to create songs and music about particular topics. And like you say, it's really, really easy. It's got lots of different types of genres. So if I wanted to have a slow hip hop song about, oh crikey, Halloween, as we've been doing Halloween. I can do exactly that. It takes a couple of seconds to generate, and you can see what I can do with those then is I can download them as an audio track and use them as part of a presentation that I'm doing or something along those lines. I could also use it within a video as well. So here's my Halloween hip hop song.
Ghostly shadows creeping near, candles flicker, whispers clear.
So you can just see how quickly these things work now to be able to create quite engaging, exciting content that you could use with your learners. So that's Suno AI. You can see at the top there, suno.com/create. You can sign up using an email address or a mobile phone number, whatever's easiest for you. And the last website I'll share, I'm sure I shared this with you in the last session. This is quite good for supporting learners developing their prompting skills. So this is a tool called twinpix.ai. So basically what they have to do on the right-hand side here is write a prompt in less than 100 characters to try and generate an image like the one they see on the left-hand side. So I could write one, a white mouse jumping over a set of cogs or whatever. I can click create image. If you haven't had a chance, please do fill in the evaluation form from today's session using the QR code there on the screen or by clicking on that blue link. The course code there is E1123 and the course title is AI in your curriculum.